quick little chit chat over everything iQOO is doing, this COVID situation, and all the craziness that's happening. So I want to like first bring this up. Like you guys just entered the country. You've got one great device out, the iQOO 3, that's in the hands of users. What's been the response like?
So first, thanks, Swapnil. Thanks for getting me on the call. Always glad to be in touch with you. Right. On the response to iQOO 3, see, the response has been tremendous actually. So we got a little time to show our strength on Flipkart for a few weeks, and then lockdown happened. But even before that, in those 3 weeks, we sold thousands of devices. And the best
Mm-hmm.
part is that the response has been really great. You can see Flipkart rating, you can see all the, even from your platform, also the review has been great from other platforms as well in terms of, detailed reviews, comparisons. Everywhere iQOO 3 has come out as a winner. And what is even more, a bigger thing is that the share of 5G devices within iQOO 3 has been at 30%. So it has
Okay.
been almost double of our expectation. So in terms of response, it has been great. So thanks for all the love and support. And yeah, it's going great.
Awesome. So you guys started with great momentum, that launch in Bombay, I was there. It was pretty amazing. And you had some really great people who came up and spoke. Like Milind was there. He's like a
Right.
big inspiration to so many of us. And then he talked about the phone's philosophy and how it sort of he connects with it. So there was a lot of momentum that you guys had built up. And I'm sure you had more devices that you planned to launch. And then the lockdown happened. So how has this COVID situation sort of changed, what your plans were and what you were planning to do? Can you give us some insight into that?
Sure, Swapnil. So in terms of, see, that was the product phase, and that is just the first step of equation. The second step and third step, they go on and on. And to highlight that thing, during this period, what we have focused on, how we can improve the experience further for our consumer and iQOO super fans, what they are looking from our side. So during this period, we took some initiative also, to be more closer to our iQOO fans who have bought the phone, they are using it. So for example, we have extended the warranty of every iQOO device by 90 days because,
Okay.
during this period, center are not operational for last 1 month. Second thing is that, God forbid if iQOO 3, there are some issues which needs some attention and replacement. That cannot happen right now. So we have extended the replacement period also for all the devices by 10
Nice.
days. So,
Okay.
right. So apart from that, we have also announced that, and probably you are one of the first to know that we will be extending, we'll be giving 3 years of software and security updates for all iQOO 3 devices, along with
Nice.
the two major Android updates. So you will see Android 11, Android 12, and for
Okay.
Android 11, will be one of the earliest to bring Android 11 to iQOO devices. So again, it's not just the hardware, the phone itself, but the experience which goes a long way, and we are building upon these promises, right? And along with that, in any case, our first phase was to establish iQOO as a premium device in smartphone category, premium smartphone category. So anybody who's looking at performance-oriented devices, with industry-first innovations like 5G and first one to bring Snapdragon 865, the aim was to build that promise in that first phase. So again, in terms of what is being rolled out from our side, it hasn't changed much.
Okay.
So you will see
So,
more of iQOO.
so obviously you guys, even when you're working from home, you guys are all keeping super busy, huh? Working on all of these software updates and roadmaps. That's nice.
Right.
So, you know, question is that all of this people entering this lockdown phase, the people have not been able to buy phones. There's this, a lot of brands are feeling the pinch, of sales, especially the lockdown happening like just at the beginning slash end of a financial year. There's that very tricky part, right? May end, April beginning. So how do you see that, sort of changing your forecast in terms of business, in terms of units you're going to sell? Do you see it'll be an adverse impact, or do you think a post lockdown it'll all be like sub ठीक हो जाएगा, you'll make up for it?
See, this shall too pass. It's one thing we always believe in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good times, bad times, they all are part of this cycle. But to highlight one thing very clearly, Swapnil, is that the safety and health is our priority for our consumers or for our partners, employees. So sales in this scenario is not the priority, to be honest. And even if we can't do sell things, it's fine because it's a situation we are going through and we have to face this situation. So in terms of sales are getting impacted, it's fine. Second thing is that iQOO is never the philosophy of iQOO is not to become a mass player. When I
Mm-hmm.
say mass player, I cannot be at every price point.
Right.
So for me, to be there as a top choice for premium smartphone category phone, that's what we are focusing on, and how we can do that by creating a certain perception about the quality of things we are making, by
Okay.
promises we are making to consumers, and
Mhm.
by giving out the best of the devices. So again, if we can do all of these things, sales I would consider as a byproduct.
Okay.
So first, right, so commitment to consumer, employee, and partner and their safety is first and foremost thing. Once we get through this condition, obviously we'll focus on sales and everything else. But right now, I think you, me, and everyone else should stay at home and and doing our bit. So let's focus on that.
That's interesting. Speaking of staying at home, like now that you're at home, I'm sure you're saving on your commute time. That there's all these little pockets of time that you're saving. So, picked up any hobbies? Anything new you've been trying out last few days?
So I think I'm catching up the old habits which which hobbies which I've left for a while now because I got busy with certain things. iQOO launch was there, and then again, through regular working hours, regular working day, you tend to forget those habits, those hobbies. So I'm picking up reading again, playing video games at times,
Uh-huh.
watching a few old series which I haven't seen for a while. So catching up a lot of things, and along with that, I'm not doing much commute these days, so being able to give more time to the family, kids, wife, parents, it's again one thing which I'm doing in a better manner right now. So in terms of hobby, yeah, reading new books, few
Okay.
interesting ones.
That's
Um,
nice to know. That's very nice. What games are you playing?
so I'm an Xbox fan, so I have an Xbox. So
Oh,
right,
big
so
Xbox fan
I'm
right here.
okay. So yeah, so not into PlayStation. So again, I play FIFA with my niece and nephews.
Oh, nice.
So that's what about Xbox. On mobile, I play Asphalt, and with my kids, I play simple games like Ludo. So
Mhm.
again, all three genres of games.
Nice. It's pretty amazing, right? Like how games tend to bring so many people together, also with different kinds, age groups, gender, nationalities. Like, look how much PUBG and like Call of Duty Mobile have blown up on the smartphone scene, and like it's become one of the biggest driving forces for smartphone purchase decisions, right? So, speaking of which, like now, we've been under lockdown for almost 40 days, and a lot has changed. Like the intensity of this pandemic has really changed how we operate, how we do things.
Right.
Once the lockdown lifts, do you think like the way we work, or even like the kind of things we buy, there'll be a change, like a drastic change in that?
So there will be certain change in behavior, which
Mm-hmm.
may or may not lead to purchase behavior, but there will
Okay.
be certain change in behavior fundamentally because there
Okay.
was certain section of population which were not comfortable using digital platform and
Mm-hmm.
connecting via internet. I think that will become even more mainstream. The usage of internet will become even more extensive,
Right.
and given that people have seen the power of 4G, I'm sure they would want to watch the power of 5G. So for example, you and me are having normal 2D video call, probably virtual 3D call would not be that
Right.
far in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
again, a lot of experiments will come. So people like me, you and me who are enthusiasts, will look for even more use cases. The people who are not using any use cases, they will actually become more expensive, more experienced with this one. So behavior will change fundamentally in terms of purchase behavior. Again, that is something which we have to see once the lockdown ends, how it comes up. And my assumption is that once this period gets over, we will then particularly see the clear trend. As compared to there are multiple research and studies are going on, but nothing
Right.
compares to what happens in the reality. Yeah.
That's true. Like, are you anticipating something though? Like, for example, there were some reports a few days ago that, it's estimated that once lockdown lifts, laptop and PC sales are set to like see a jump, major jump, because people have been wanting to buy new laptops or new desktops. So that segment is set to grow. What about smartphones? What do you foresee?
See, again, there will be two phases, Swapnil. One phase is that for 1.5 months, there has not been much sales in smartphone industry. So there are people who actually essentially need the phone.
Right.
They will pay cash with phone, right? So that's the first phase. In terms of second phase, where actually how the normal behavior comes back into the market in terms of spending, again, we will have to wait for that, how it actually rolls out. So, but
Okay.
what I'm clear about the first phase that people who have not been able to buy phone during this period, they will actually go for it.
Actually. Do you feel like we were discussing this a few days ago, just internally within the team, that maybe smartphones and maybe even laptops should be part of the essentials list? Given how much we rely on them for everything, like for staying in touch with people, for entertainment, for work. So, what are your views on that? Would you recommend that the government add smartphones, for example, to the essentials items list?
See, Swapnil, if I see from my point of view, from iQOO's side, yes, we would want that, but we have to see it in a holistic manner,
Right.
right? And when I say that, iQOO is being delivered online, for example, so and central government and state government, they are working together. They have even more information, better on ground, understand, what's actually happening on ground. If you
Right.
see from those parameters, we also have to understand that we have to see the health and safety of the guy who's actually receiving the phone and who is delivering the phone. Even those
Right.
parameters would come in. So once phone goes out of the factory, situation does not end there. It goes even
Mm.
farther and farther. So the chain is quite longer, and probably government has more visibility into this scenario that how it pans out. So that being said, whatever government thinks what's right in terms of our overall health thing, we will adhere to that, and that's how we will proceed.
That's nice. So, speaking of factories, like your factories are not operational right now, or have they started producing at lower capacity? Because there was
No, it's
confusion.
not.
It's not operational. Okay,
No,
okay.
no.
We'll check on
Because
that.
safety, as I said, employee
Mhm.
health safety is the first thing we're following, and we are not operational right now.
So once the lockdown does lift and the government does say that it is safe to sort of resume normal life, what will be the safety precautions you take for your employees and your workers in the factories and office? Are there any action plans that you're putting in place
You are saying about post lockdown?
post lockdown? Yes,
Okay,
post
okay.
lockdown.
So on this one, Swapnil, the actual discussions are going on. We're deliberating what's the right way, once lockdown lifts. And you will also have to see that, lockdown will not open most likely in one go. It will go district by district, state by state, phase by phase. So, and we will have to see, how at our particular factory location it pans out. So again, once the state government guidelines comes out, we will decide clearly what we are going to undertake as a measure of precaution, once lockdown lifts. But as of now, we are still in a discussion phase and nothing has been finalized because we are waiting for government guidelines.
Okay. And in terms of your customers, right, people who have phones or are facing some issues, trouble, are you guys providing some sort of online support? How are you staying in touch with those customers?
So our online support is still active. People can reach out to us through chat, through our website. They can reach out to us and this
Okay.
toll-free number also through which we're operational. So we are helping our consumer as much as we can, and we regret the inconvenience also, which they are facing right now because of physical operations are not happening. And to compensate that in whatever way we can, I told you already that the period has been extended, but
Right.
we are trying our best through online medium as much as we can. So do it
Okay.
yourself mode is on. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me something. What what has been the user feedback for iQ3 in terms of what's the one thing that everybody has unanimously loved about your phone? I know that you love everything about your device, but what's the user feedback?
So I'll tell you bit by bit. Actually, the first thing they love about iQOOs is that the sheer speed of the device. In terms,
Yeah.
anything you do, multiple things you do, they go just super smooth. The experience has been super smooth on this aspect. Similarly, on the user interface side, they like it is quite simple, closer to stock Android, and we would want to take this direction only in terms of cleaner user interface. They love that, and iQOO UI will evolve over the period of time as well. Along with that, in terms of updates, it's going to be more than regular. People have, voiced that, we would want even more of regular updates on iQOO UI, and we have promised that, our updates will be more than regular. And other things that within camera, they love the macro mode. It's super,
Okay.
super amazing in terms of, the clarity, the colors that is being captured. So feedback has been coming in from all the sites along with this thing. They have the 5G feature on the phone which they cannot use as of now, but anybody who owns it, they are proud to own it.
Yeah. So I want
So,
to touch upon that 5G thing that you just
right.
brought up. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I understand you want to sell a phone with the best chipset, but then you have this 5G modem that you have to sort of also incorporate. And a lot of people have been, debating, like, do you want to pay extra for that 5G? Because it's 5G, it's more expensive. There is that logic going around. So how did you sort of counter this, at launch time? That is, how did you counter this thinking that, oh, 5G to India mein hai nahi, to hum 5G wala phone kyun le? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I agree.
what was your game plan with that?
So, Swapnil, there are two aspects to it. It would
Okay.
have been easier for me. It would have, first thing is that it would have been easier for me if I would have launched all the devices as 4G devices. And
Right.
in other flip case also, it would have been easier for me if I would have launched all the devices as 5G devices.
Right. Right.
Right? We did not need to go through the pain of solving two problems instead of one problem, right? But again, so the philosophy at iQOO's is that we have to listen to what consumers are saying. So when we were
Mm-hmm.
doing our consumer study, we looked at that there was substantial chunk of consumers who were looking for 4G devices because they believe that 5G is not going to come soon. But there were also one segment, sizable
Mm-hmm.
sizable segment, which said we need 5G. It doesn't matter, when 5G comes, because
Mm-hmm.
my aspiration is that I want to own the latest technology at the same point of time as compared to the rest of the world. So we looked
Mm-hmm.
at both of these things in proportion, and then we decided we will have both versions in our portfolio.
Okay.
And
Okay.
what is even more surprising that the uptake of 5G devices has
Mm-hmm.
been more than double as compared to our expectations. So almost 30% devices sold are 5G devices.
Wow.
So we don't believe in copy pasting technology. That okay, if other geography is launching 5G phones, we will launch all 5G phones in India. We
Mm-hmm.
decided to launch two versions, 4G and 5G, very clearly as per the consumer demand.
That's interesting. So you have both. And w- when you launched 5G, like, what was your anticipation? By when do you think India is going to get 5G capabilities in its telecom sector?
So
Especially
again,
given what happened.
sorry.
Especially given what has just happened, with
Yeah.
yeah.
So again, on this one, probably we will need to more, and we will need more clarity and actually, when auction starts and when these things happen. So I think it's slightly a longer process. But
Mm-hmm.
on the positive side, if you see right now, the adoption of technology, 4G enabled devices is increasing even further. People are using
Right.
internet for various purposes. When classes for my education, my kids, they are happening online. So, various platforms like Zoom, Skype, and other platforms. So if we go by that scene, the adoption is increasing. It's going in the right direction. Just that we get more clarity from the regulators and how telecom players are going to roll this out. We'll have a clear picture. But I think uptake of faster internet, better platform is going to increase.
Oh, okay. And has this COVID-19 situation sort of changed your launch plan, so to say, for devices in the coming months? Are you reevaluating that, or are you still going to stick to your original game plan?
So, Swapnil, I can tell you what the phase one which we had in our mind when we launched iQOO is that we in the first 6 months
Mm-hmm.
our aim was to establish very clearly that iQOO is one of the top choices in the premium category of smartphones, right?
Right.
And we are working on that. And I told you about the promises which we have made across, not just with the product as well as on the services side. Apart from that, we have to wait once the lockdown completely lifts because it's
Okay.
going to be lifted, I think, by phase. So we will have to wait clearly, and then we can decide what's the roadmap for the product. But we have
Okay.
very bold plans for India. Along with that, in terms of rollout, these things will be decided, but the safety and health of
Mhm.
our employees and partners actually this is the priority right now. So in that regard,
Okay.
once this thing settles, we will look at the product roadmap also.
Cool. So, has iQOO been doing anything in terms of its CSR to help, especially with COVID-19? The situation is unlike anything we've ever seen, and there's a lot of help that's needed. So, has your brand been doing anything with the government to help out, or in the society to help out?
Sure, Swapnil. On this one, I think whatever we do, it's going to be less, and I will request everyone around us and all the brands and organizations who are present in India, I would request them to, do as much as we can, help the needy in this situation. At iQOO, we have actually associated ourselves with Akshay Padra, and we are helping 100,000 uh, needy community to, to get the food on their table. And
Oh,
again, at this point in time, everything we are doing what we can, and no help is even going to bring us even closer to what we need. And so I will request everyone to do their bit as much as they can. So that's what we have done. Mention that. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Gagan. Thank you for your time. This has been extremely enlightening, and I'm happy to see that you're safe, healthy, and in sort of enjoying the lockdown, so to say. And thank you so
Thank you,
much for.
Sobal. Thanks for that. Thank you,
All right.
Sobal. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. We connected, and I hope to meet you soon, sometime face to face.
Yes, we will soon. Thank you.